All right, let's just dive straight into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking Rob Moore's book, Money. Know more, make more, give more. And look, we're going to uncover the absolute core promise of Moore's work here. Building real, lasting wealth, it doesn't actually start with a spreadsheet. It starts by looking in the mirror and directly confronting your deep-seated psychological blocks.
So ask yourself honestly right now, do you want wealth but secretly feel a little guilty about it? I mean, why aren't you wealthy yet? What is actually holding you back? I'm going to challenge you right out of the gate here. For so many of us, it's these mixed, totally contradictory feelings keeping us stuck. You might desperately want financial freedom on the surface, but deep down, you probably hold this quiet suspicion about wealth and the people who have it. And that inner conflict, that is exactly what's keeping you stuck in neutral.
To figure out why you feel that way, we kind of have to look backward for a second. Your core attitudes toward money, the idea that it's scarce, that wanting it makes you greedy, or that classic money doesn't grow on trees line we all heard, those were handed down to you long before you even understood what a dollar was. These limiting beliefs, you absorbed them completely unconsciously from your parents and your environment. You didn't choose them, but they planted themselves in your brain before you could even form an independent thought about finances. And the kicker is, they are still quietly, aggressively driving your adult financial decisions today. It's totally valid that you struggle with this. But now that we can actually see the root cause, we can finally do something about it.
And here's where we start to actively rewrite that narrative. We literally have to make a conscious shift away from those inherited money beliefs, the whole money is scarce or evil thing, and consciously choose a new money story. Moore argues that money itself is entirely amoral. It's not good, it's not evil, it is simply an amplifier. Think about it. The exact same stack of cash in different hands can fund something terrible, or it can fund genuine, positive, world-changing impact. The moral question is 100% about the person holding the cash, not the cash itself. Treating this belief change as a deliberate, ongoing practice, well, that's step one to building true wealth.
Okay, so once we get our mindset right, we can finally look at the practical strategy. Relying on a 100% single salary dependency, it's incredibly risky. You're basically placing your entire financial security on one single point of failure. If that job goes, everything goes. Instead, Moore advocates for deliberately building a diversified income portfolio over time. Think about breaking it down like a pie across multiple streams. Maybe 50% comes from your day job, 30% from a side hustle, and 20% from investments or royalties. Building multiple streams of income doesn't just accelerate your wealth, it drastically reduces your financial risk. It creates a safety net that lets you finally breathe.
So, the absolute crucial point for accelerating that financial growth is mastering leverage. Look, you can only work so many hours in a day, right? You only have so much energy and so much personal capital in the bank. Leverage is the core wealth-building principle that completely solves this limitation. It means using other people's capital, other people's expertise, or other people's time. You do this through things like partnerships, financing, or delegation to achieve vastly more than your own personal limits allow. You simply cannot build massive wealth entirely on your own back. It's just not possible.
Let's see how this actually builds using a really simple, relatable, everyday example. Say you're a local shop owner. Step 1, you save small amounts from your initial profits. Basic enough. But step 2, rather than working the register 14 hours a day by yourself and burning out, you hire a part-time assistant. Bam, you are now using other people's time. This frees you up to actually focus on growing the business or acquiring new income-generating assets. Then, step 3, you use a small business loan, which is other people's money, to open a second location. You're shifting from trading your direct time for money toward creating assets that generate income without your constant direct involvement. That is the game changer.
But to take those steps, you really have to face how you handle risk. I want to emphatically remind you here that avoiding all risk, playing it completely safe, keeping your cash stuffed under the mattress, that basically guarantees mediocre outcomes. Building real wealth requires a deliberate shift toward calculated risk. And let's be clear, this is not reckless gambling, not at all. This is taking well-researched, deeply understood actions. Shifting your mindset toward taking calculated risks, that's literally the only way significant assets are ever acquired and multiplied.
And as your assets start to grow, a really fascinating shift happens in your relationship with money, which brings us to the give more part of Moore's philosophy. We have to clarify that genuine generosity actually reinforces a healthy relationship with money. It's not in tension with it. When you give from a place of true abundance, rather than, say, out of a sense of obligation or some lingering guilt about your success, generosity becomes this natural, joyful part of your financial growth. It basically confirms to your brain that, yes, there is more than enough to go around.
So we've covered mindset, income streams, leverage, and giving. But if there's one single thing I want you to burn into your memory from this explainer today, it is this core takeaway. Money just amplifies who you already are. Fix your beliefs about it first, and the strategy gets easier. Seriously, all the tactics, the multiple income streams, the leverage, none of it is going to work long-term if you're quietly sabotaging yourself in the background. You must rewrite that inherited money story first. Once you do that, the actual mechanics of wealth building finally start to click into place. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly crucial question. What will your new money story build? Because you have the tools now. You understand the psychological blocks that were holding you back, and you know the practical steps of leverage and calculated risk. So the choice is entirely yours. Are you going to keep living the financial story someone else handed to you, or are you going to start rewriting it today? Take a calculated step right now. Decide what your new story will be, and go build it.